So Microsoft Teams Premium is, I guess, Microsoft trying to keep up with Zoom, as they've tried to do since the pandemic. So most of the development on Teams was just to do with video calling. It's the least bit of Teams that I'm bothered about because it doesn't really save you time. Once you've got into video calling and you've already saved the time of driving or flying or going to visit someone in person, you've already saved that time. So any other developments in video are probably just nice to have. So it's frustrating for me that Microsoft's not developing some other things that would be really useful, such as loop pages, which we'll get onto because there's a new story about that. And they keep investing in making video better in inverted commas. So Teams Premium is announced. I'll flip onto the page to have a look through what Teams Premium is in a sec. But as you'll see, when we go onto the other blog post announcement about Teams Premium, that just goes through what's in Teams Premium as if it's new. And this announcement that's on the Admin Center is saying, well, Teams Premium is coming out, and as part of Teams Premium announcement, these features will move to Teams Premium and will still be open for everyone for a grace period of time. So these ones are already in Teams calling now, and Microsoft are taking them out of your existing license and putting them into another license that you have to pay extra for, which I don't think many people are going to pay extra for, to be honest. I think they're probably going to lose people to Zoom because of this. So live translation of captions is in Teams already, and now it's going to go to Teams Premium. Custom together mode scenes, I don't know anyone that uses that. So it was a nice thought. It's fine if it's free, but trying to make that out as its premium feature, it's like no one uses together mode anyway, let alone doing custom together mode scenes. Timeline markers in Teams meeting recordings. Didn't know that was in there, to be honest. I don't really use that, but that's going out to Teams Premium. And virtual appointments, again in the blog post I look at, that's not very explicit that that's going, because they mention virtual appointments and then advanced virtual appointments, which sounds like it's going to go to Teams Premium and the virtual appointments are going to stay. So yeah, a bit of ambiguity there. Let's flip on to the blog post. I'm Gavin Jones, founder and director at MeTime, where we help people save time at work using Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Teams. If you need help saving time at work, I've got a free course linked in the description below that you can get some tips and tricks on how to use Microsoft Teams, Microsoft To Do, Microsoft Planner, and make yourself more productive at work. If you're struggling to get your whole organization to change, we've got another free course that might be useful to help generate some ideas that you might be able to steal to make your whole organization work in a more modern way. So this one, introducing Microsoft Teams Premium, the better way to meet. The better way to meet. Interesting marketing there. So what's Teams Premium? It's saying we'll easily create meetings that meet your needs. Well, Teams already meets most people's needs, so it's got to be very niche, the amount of things that they're putting in Teams Premium. I'll go through things that aren't in there that would be useful to me. I'm interested to see if they would be useful to you as well, so let me know in the comments below when we get to that bit. So it's got like meeting guides. You can select a meeting guide like a client call, brainstorming meeting, or help desk call, and the options will already be set, reducing the time and thought process around getting the meeting right. I don't know many people that are spending that much time thinking about getting their meeting right once they're in Teams. You might do some prep and some PowerPoint and think about things you want to get over in the meeting. That's not being removed or reduced from this. It's just the tabs that are going to appear in the meeting once you go in are already set for you. So I don't know many people that are using tabs anyway, apart from people that are doing meetings for their business, so which already they might be wanting to use Zoom anyway because it's better in my opinion and easier to set up and get going, and this has not been available in Teams up until now anyway. Even so, it's like they're that might be useful for them, but probably not for most people doing normal jobs, I would say. You can have customized meeting branding, which does look pretty cool actually. So if you're in sales, it might be nice to have some custom branding as your customers join that meeting. But if you've got a large organization, is it worth getting that for every single person? Probably not. So then if you speak to someone, if you're a big company, you've probably got connections throughout the organization that go to your customers, not just sales. So marketing, you speak to marketing the customer, supply chain, you speak to supply chain in your customer. If you're a big company, for example, are you going to pay for Teams Premium for all those just to get custom branding? I'm not sure. So then you're creating like, well, sales have got custom branding, but marketing haven't, say. So yeah, could be a difficult return on investment, I would say, to get IT to get this signed off. So focus on what matters with AI-powered meetings is pretty cool. So this one is worth getting rather than taking notes, because this is actually saving time. So intelligent recap in Teams Premium, you get the power of AI to give you some suggested action items and owners. And strangely, this is then also in Viva Sales, which again I think is a bizarre product, because it's saying it frees up time from your CRM because it's like flagging emails for you as you send them out. But every CRM product has a plugin to Outlook to do that. So it might be removing one click to say send this to my CRM. But I know HubSpot does that automatically. Salesforce, I'm presuming, does it, and I'm presuming Dynamics does it. And then all Viva Sales does is like just do that for you and show some other information that's not coming from directly from your CRM. It's sort of going through Viva Sales. But anyway, one of the other things that Viva Sales does do is do exactly this. So if you're already paying Viva Sales for your Salesforce, then you're already getting this anyway. So it's a strange overlap, I think, but cool addition. And I've showed a way that you can, admittedly, more work at the moment, get very similar results from just copying a transcript into ChatGPT. Check out this video next. We've got a separate video on that to go through how to do that for free at the moment, although Microsoft have just invested $10 billion into ChatGPT, so I'm sure they probably won't want to keep that free for long to get their money back. Live translation for captions is already in Teams, and they're removing it, which isn't said in this blog post. Help keep confidential meetings confidential is a strange one for a layperson that's not particularly techie, because I'm assuming as a layperson that if I have a Teams meeting, it's already got a little lock icon in there and saying it's encrypted. I'm assuming that's secure. So now you're getting me to pay for something else to say, well, it's more secure. And so I know there's a lot of depth in IT, especially in security, and this one's about information protection and sensitivity labels and meetings and the text and the recording and stuff, and that helps the compliance of all the IT people. So here's onto this, and then advanced virtual appointments. So again, in the blog post, it looks like the advanced bit of virtual appointments is Teams Premium, and the normal appointments it isn't, which I think is going to be confusing for people that just try to do something and then realize, oh, I can't do that. So I either need to go through IT to try and get me an extra license, which if you're a normal user doing a normal job, from my experience, people are just not going to do that. It's a lot of hassle to go through to IT to get something done, rather than they might try and do a webinar because they just need to do it right now. They've already sorted it out and they're planning it. They go to do it on Teams and then find out they can't do it, or it's tricky, or they need an extra license. It's like, well, I'll just pay for Zoom on my credit card and I'll just sort it out myself. That's how people just start to get around what IT have already put in place, unless everything's locked down, which obviously starts impacting people's jobs. And then people still will get around it. They'll just get their supplier to set the Zoom meeting up, or they'll get their marketing agency to set the thing up themselves, rather than because our company's locked down, we'll just use your one. So that's why I'm not a big fan of locking everything down. And I think Microsoft are going to lose people because of this like two-tiered sort of system of having a bit for free in your existing licenses and a bit that's extra. I think they'd be better saying, look, if you want to do webinars, just pay for Teams Premium, and everything to do with a webinar, including virtual appointments or whatever, is Teams Premium. And if you don't want to do webinars, that's included. That would be, I think, better solution to know whether you do or don't want to do it. So anyway, this virtual appointments is sending out text messages to remind people, which is pretty useful. Appointment management, so this is where it looks like everyone's going to have this virtual appointments app, but only the bits where there's like a little diamond premium icon is where you're going to have premium. So it looks like you can do a booking schedule for free and manage stuff, but if you want to see a queue or any analytics, then that's where you're going to need to use Teams Premium. So niche, I think. Advanced webinars, so this is what I was saying, advanced webinars are Teams Premium, but presumably you can still do webinars in Teams without Premium. And so some of these you would expect just to be in a webinar, so rather than an advanced webinar. So the registration waitlist, I can't see being that important, but presumably that's keeping it with the feature that Zoom have got, where if your meetings or your webinar's already full, you can go on a wait list, and then as people drop, you can come on, and then you can customize the registration start and end time. So again, presumably from the blog post, that reads as if that's Teams Premium. I would expect that to be in just a webinar solution. So strange that that's split out. And then you can send automated reminder emails. So again, if you're running a webinar, I would expect that that's already in just to be able to run a webinar. People are going to get the calendar link anyway, or how many times you need to prompt someone to go and join if they've got the calendar invite. Not sure. So where it's quite useful is now they're bringing stuff that used to be in live events, which was for like 10,000 people across an organization. You could mix whether you use professional software and hardware in through Teams to make it look, like a professionally generated live video for internal communications in a large organization. And they used to have this like green room, they're calling it now. It wasn't called green room when they had live events, where you can, as the presenters, chat about stuff before the meeting, and then you're choosing what goes live, which is useful for webinars. So that would be useful. But again, it's not clear, or it's at least implied, that virtual and green room is only for advanced webinars. So webinars at the moment in the normal Teams license seem to be just like another meeting, apart from you get like a booking page, which is probably unneeded for anything internal. So if you're running stuff external, then you would use a webinar in Teams, but then because it's missing these features, you would probably think, well, it's not good enough, I'll use Zoom webinar. Before I forget, the main thing that Teams Premium doesn't have, or hasn't mentioned at least, is improved recording of the webinar or of the meeting, which is something that I would pay extra to do. So as you may have seen some of my other videos, any time that I'm speaking to someone else virtually and recording it, the quality is terrible. So the frame rate's terrible, the resolution's terrible, and I ended up, usually, if I remember, recording my screen because that's better quality, as well as the meeting recording from Teams, if that makes sense, and then I have to match the two together. But flipping from one to the other is, you can tell which one's which. So if you've got a Zoom webinar or a Zoom meeting, that's all sorted for you. The quality's great. You can get individual people speaking as they're speaking. You can get a shared view, and you can get the screen that's being presented, all separate files. That I would pay for, and I'm not sure why Microsoft are not copying that from Zoom, because every time I need to do it, I'm like, well, I may as well just use Zoom because Teams is not good enough to do it. So like I say, I think you're going to lose people to Zoom by making it complicated what's in and what's out. I think saying, look, all of this solution, if you want to do anything with a webinar, that's in Premium, and you get everything that Zoom can do, including recording, and then everything that's existing in Teams calling as what's in there. But now they're going to remove things that's what's in there now and put it into Premium, and then just mix like some of the features about. So Teams Premium, bizarre choices, I think, from Microsoft. But let me know what you think. Do you like Teams Premium? What are you going to use about it? Let me know in the comments below.